Welcome back to another video blog from Effingham Golf Club. I hope you're all well. And you enjoyed last week's on the machinery. Obviously it's a big subject to try and squash into a 10-minute video, but I hope it enlightened you a little bit on that. So this week we've gone from low 30 degrees last week to rain, cooler temperatures and wind. Welcome to the world of greenkeeping. You couldn't make it up sometimes, the weather. Every time we seem to have any weather now, it seems to be record breaking. Hottest, coolest, wettest, driest, whatever, and it's something we need to deal with. So it's not easy. So we start off in the mornings. We always have a plan, especially when we have the weekends, of what we'd like to do. Looking at the weather window, we absolutely hang our hats on the weather in this job. We really do. It's something we all look at in the morning, whether we're fertilising, spraying, or just whatever duties we need to do. It absolutely is hinged on the weather, and it's not just rain. It's wind, it's temperature. What's going to happen in the next few hours, what's going to happen tomorrow. So do we start jobs, do we not start jobs? So we have very robust plans to get on and do our job, but it's, I say, it can all go out the window first thing in the morning, especially if the weatherman's got it slightly wrong. We're expecting a nice dry day and it's pouring down with rain. So vice versa. So the weather is a big thing. So we're all on apps. The Met Office I like to use. It seems to be quite accurate, to be honest. It's as accurate as everybody else's. And remember, weather has got a lot more accurate forecasting. They used to be able to do, tomorrow might be rain. Well, now they're down to an hour. It would be through in an hour or so. So whatever we say about the weather forecasting is getting much better and has done. So this week we've started the week with a solid tine, a very light solid tine. This is just ongoing every month here, usually weekly. And sanding, of course, we sanded last week, we'll be sanding again this week, that little 4-ton light dressing. Feeding the tees today, bit of rain coming through, so it's a good time to get that feed on. As we talked about last videos, if you can wash it in, fantastic. So we're feeding the tees, and that's after our verticut last week. The tees do get knocked back, and it's good to pick them up. So it's only a little light feed and a bit of colour in them, which you'll notice over the next few days will kick in. So last week we had the STRI visit us, and the STRI, that stands for the Sports Turf Research Institute. This is a company based up north in a place called Bingley, been there for many years now, and they are our agronomists. So we have inferior consultant who comes to see us once, twice a year, and his job is to make sure whatever we're doing, we're on track, we're doing the right thing, and we're not being detrimental to the grass or the course in a whole. So we have a guy called Steve Gingell comes to see us. Steve's been with the STRI for a number of years now, and he's pretty well known as the downland guy. He's got a very strong interest in the downland courses, and he's a fair expert on them, say the least. So he pops along, and what they do, they come to do our testing. So we test the greens for several different things, and it's not just the greens. We have a look at the woodland, we have a look at the fairways, tees, all our grass areas, all our sports playing areas, and he gives us advice on what we could be doing and what we should be doing. And over the years, I think he was introduced here in about 2012 through Howard Lago, got Steve Gingell in, and Steve's been with us ever since, and we are making great strides towards our goals, which we set out in 2012, 2013. And things are really moving on. So our last week's visit, I'll explain what we do in the next few videos coming up. You'll find it quite interesting how we data collect and how we record this data and how we use it as well. It's great collecting all these numbers and writing them down, but if we don't act on it, it's been a pretty pointless exercise. So collecting data here is a fairly intensive job, and we've increased it to suit our needs over the years, and we've designed spreadsheets in-house for either Greens chairmen or Steve and myself. So we'll move on to the video, and we'll show you what the STI did on their day here. Some of you would have seen this happening. You've been playing golf, not just last week, but when he's been before, and we'll explain the tools we use and how they work and what we do with this data once we collect it. So I hope you enjoy the next few videos. So here we go, we start the meeting. Steve Gingell on the right, of course, with our very own Steve Slinger. we start with a debrief. We talk about our last results and what we've been doing and what our aspirations are for the coming season, particular areas we'd like Steve to look at. Before this happens, I've sent some soil samples off to the STRI and we discuss those results and we act on what we see. Meeting often takes place indoors, of course, over a nice cup of coffee, but due to the COVID, we're outdoors this time, but it's still a very pleasant meeting. We then move on to our objectives. So this is what's set out by the STRI. On the left is the measurements we take. That's our results in the middle. And on the right-hand side is a target range, which we try to stay within. And just the last few visits, we've done very well. This was last May, I do believe, May 19. We then move on to the testing. This is Steve taking a trueness and smoothness reading of the greens. This is done with this very specialist bit of kit, a big roller skate, and in the middle of that is a aluminium ball on a Y and X axis, I do believe, and that measures all the undulations on the green at a very, very microscopic level. And this gives us a reading at the end. So we roll the machine one way, we then repeat that process by coming back on exactly the same line, and we do that 3 times. So we take in all 6 readings and we put that into the spreadsheet and we get a result. We then move on to the firmness of the greens. You're here using the Clegg hammer, and we take a moisture reading at the same time. So Steve's just showing young Ollie, who came out to do the testing with us, as some experience what to do. So we drop this down. That represents a weight of a golf ball coming into the green with a wedge shot, say, and that tells us how firm the greens are, followed then by the moisture reading taken in the same spot. And the moisture readings we take weekly here, and we have a target of low 20%. We try to keep them in. A little bit difficult in the winter, of course, but during the playing season we do achieve these targets. And yeah, you say there goes Steve taking that reading. So he drops that down. It's like an accelerometer, so as it deaccelerates, it gives a reading into a box, and we write that down. So we don't want the greens so firm that the ball bounces off, and we don't want them soft where it bites in and leaves too many pitch marks. So that's quite an important task for us, and it takes 9 readings and then put into the computer. This is Ollie taking the stimp reader, and this is an important job, and I'll go a little bit more into the stimp reader. This is Gary holding the stimp meter. So a piece of aluminium, 36 inches long, and at the 30-inch mark there's an indent just there, and that's where we place the ball, which is released. It's a V shaped, 145 degrees V, which keeps the ball centered down it. Underneath is a groove that's very important, that stops the ball from bouncing as it comes off the end of the stimp meter, and gives us a false reading. So invented by Edward Stimpson in 1935, if my memory serves me. Used extensively then into the 70s and 80s. The USGA really got hold of it. Started producing ridiculously quick greens because we could measure them, and I think it was Oak Mount or one of those competitions where they started getting greens up to 15 foot. Absolutely ridiculous. So now it's all under control. I think 10.5 foot's the average speed for the Open now. And so we measure the greens in the morning after we cut and roll, and it gives us a reading, but that's the best reading we're going to get. As the day goes on, of course, the greens grow, and we will probably lose a foot and a half on the greens by late afternoon, early evening. So the best reading we get is when in the morning after they've been cut and rolled. Moisture affects speed, of course, and a bit of growth. So here's Gary's placing a ball into the slot, and he very gently will lift it up to about the 20-degree mark. At the 20-degree mark, the ball will then release, and it will roll down, and it will travel at about 6 feet a second, and it will find its position. We then load another ball in, and we repeat this, and we roll it down. Same thing, and what we're trying to do is get a reasonably tight grouping of the balls. After we've done that, the balls should be within a few inches of each other. We then get a tape measure, and we measure from the end of that stimp meter to the middle of that pack of balls, and we take this measurement in inches, and then this measurement is put into a spreadsheet, and then we repeat that process. We come back the same way and repeat that over the green 3 times, so we get 9 readings, and this is put into a spreadsheet, and it's put into the Breed equation. Now the Breed equation calculates
the break of the green, the undulations of the green, so it gives us a very true reading of what a putt would be speed, not just halving the distance and then coming up with a number. So the breed equation is very important. Steve then puts these into his laptop or his iPad. We then take a cross section of the green, and this is we compare this with previous photographs and observations. So we're looking at the profile now, sand build up, aeration marks, and we're looking pretty good with this. This is on the 5th green. And then, yeah, we compare with previous photographs and we smell it, believe it or not, organic matter we look at. And it's not just the greens, that's the greens tested. We then move on to other areas of the golf course, like I said. This is Steve, obviously up in the woods at the 6, which was a big project. Steve was involved with this. And we talk about what we can do, where we will improve. It's also a good opportunity. So we have had young Ollie with us up here. He's done the testing to give him some experience. But also he played a pivotal part in cutting the trees down up here. So it's his first big project. So Steve's just telling him what we could have done a little bit more if we've taken a bit too much out, whatever needs. Very good learning curve for the young people, this is. And we also talk about the planting. Like I said, it's not just this. We talk about fairways, tees, approaches, bunkers, every aspect of the playing surface. So hope you found that interesting, and I'll speak to you on the next video. Take care.